We just took delivery of all our kitchen cabinets. So this is everything that they took off the truck, which basically filled up the entire den with boxes. And we had just enough room, so we still have the exposed kitchen floor. So when Manny gets here to do his tiling work, nothing's really in the way. So we're pretty psyched. We got all our cabinetry. Steve's coming back over later today. He's going to start working on the sheetrock and start getting the ceiling up. That's one of the benchmarks he needs to do before the tiling comes in, because he uses a lift to get his sheetrock up top there, so he doesn't have to hold it himself. And the wheels on that, if the tiles were down, would probably crack a tile. So he's going to get the sheetrock installed on all the ceiling right here in this section and right through here. He's going to get that all up and done, and then that gives a clear shot for Manny to do his tile work. Steve's also going to put in the last piece of wood that needs to go right here. It's that little spot and over where the vacuums are. He's already got that cut. That's right there. And he's got another little piece to make up in the bathroom area where I have the cardboard. There's a little section way in the back. It's probably a couple feet wide and 60 inches long that goes in the very back there by those pipes. So he's going to get that done today as well. I'm going to be busy taking out that washer box and start prepping the wall over here for the shower valves. And I also need to replace this galvanized pipe. I got to get this all changed out as well. So we got quite a bit of stuff to do today. Just going to get started and see how far I get and pick it up again tomorrow. Today's the day I'm taking this washer box out, cutting this PVC drain line and getting this PEX back through the wall. So the first thing I have to do is shut the water off downstairs in the cellar, and then I'm going to cut this PEX, and then I'm going to cap it, and then I'm going to pull it through. So I'll show you that process so you can see what's involved. So this is the area where the standpipe for the washer box comes down through the floor. So this needs to be removed. Here's the hot and cold water lines that go up through the same wall and up into the washer box. So if I follow these around, they do a long loop and they come into this shark bite press fit, and those tee into both of these vertical pipes. Now if I follow them down through here, we have the on and off for those. So what I got to do is I got to turn the water pressure off for the washer box. So there's the hot and the cold. So those are off. So now it's safe to cut the PEX pipe up top and then pull it through. Prior to pulling it through, I have to take these cushioned guides off. What these provide is when you drill a hole, there's kind of some sharp edges on the wood. And this is a plastic sleeve that goes up into the hole and gives it a nice smooth transition. So when you're sliding the pipe up and down, there's no chance of catching it on anything and kinking it or giving it a scratch or a cut. So these are no big deal to get undone. Just got to get a stubby screwdriver in there and unscrew these little screws. And these just hold the cushioned PEX clamps against the floor, and that prevents any abrasion occurring to the PEX pipe. It also quiets them down, because sometimes, if you've noticed, with a copper pipe with a copper strap, is when you turn on the hot water, you'll hear the pipes creaking. And what happens is the pipes are expanding, so they're trying to move slightly, and if the clamps are on too tight, they'll make that noise. So anytime you can put some kind of an acoustic clamp, so you can see how this this piece here, see this, the hole's bigger, but it has sharp edges. So this just goes up like that, and it prevents this pipe from getting in contact with any sharp edges as you're manipulating the pipe. So the blue PEX pipe signifies cold water, and the red PEX pipe indicates hot water. So at a glance, you can look at these pipes and you know exactly what it is that they're running. Sometimes with copper, you can't really tell if it's a hot or cold pipe unless you run the water. and then you can feel the pipe and see if the pipe's getting cold or getting hot. So that would be an indicator of what pipe you're working on. So here's another one. See how as I pull that out, see how it's contacting that corner? So when you put it up in the hole, that just keeps it on a nice acoustic surface so that it doesn't hit anything sharp. And if it creaks, this keeps it quiet. So these are loosened up, so now I can go up top and cap these on the top and the bottom and pull them down through. And another thing I have to get rid of is these metal bands. Helps it to hold a 90 for making a corner rather than having a joint there. So when I pull that down, I just have to be careful that I don't contact the adjacent copper pipes and damage them or anything. So I just gotta use a little finesse when I pull this out of here. Okay, so I'm going to do some prep work, so I'm ready to cap those pipes. So this is the tool. This is called a expander tool. So this anvil right here, if I press the button, so what's happening is there's a rod that comes out that opens up this jaws, and what it does, the serrated edge grabs the inside of the pipe and expands it, and then when it goes back in, this indexes a little bit and it opens up again. So you're like expanding it, moving over, expanding it, moving over, expanding it. So it's an even force. So that's this is the pipe that fits inside of there, and then you expand it. But there's one more step. There's this plastic sleeve. So these have little tangs on the end, so you can't get it on past the end of the pipe, because when you expand it, if there wasn't a lip, this would travel up this way and it would get disengaged from the pipe. And then finally, here's the fitting that you cap it with that goes right inside of there. So the way it works is you expand this, and once it's expanded all the way, you give it a count of 5, pull the tool out and put the cap in, and the expanded joint will contract around the fitting. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you take the fitting and you just push it in there like that. And what will happen after 5 to 10 seconds, this expanded pipe will contract around this stopper. So this is how you put you cap a PEX pipe. So when I go to pull it through the hole, it'll come through easy, and there won't be any water spilling all over the place. The thing I got to watch out for is this expansion ring might be bigger than the hole I drilled, so I might have to pull the pipe down through first and then cap it. The reason I'm going to cap it is I have to turn the water back on, because that same circuit feeds the upstairs bathroom. So I want to make sure that I have water still in the bathroom, and if I cap this, then that'll keep the water from shooting out of this pipe. So let me show you one more time. So this red is a hot water pipe. The blue is a cold water pipe. So here's the pipe. Here's the expander ring. You just slide it over like that. Here's the expander tool. And you put it in there like that. So it's pretty easy system. In the past, people have used copper. So here's an example of how you would cap a copper pipe. So what you would do is you'd solder like a little copper cap over it, and then you need a heat and a torch. You got to clean it all up and put flux on it, and use a flame and not burn down the house in the process. So here's another example of a couple that I've cut, and I just saved the pieces. So that's what a copper cap looks like. So with that tutorial in, so that's what I'm going to end up with once I pull those pipes through, and that's how I'm going to cap them. Now let's go upstairs and do it for real. Okay. Now one thing I got to keep in mind is when I pull this, when I cut these, I'm going to end up with some water probably leaking out of it, because there's a second pipe that goes all the way up to the bathroom. So the water pressure is going to want to equalize, and the water that's above this is probably going to seep through here and leak a little bit. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking out this foam so I can cut it, and I have a bucket here, so any water that does dribble out, I can capture that rather than have it go on the floor. So this is just an insulating noodle. You see I can pull them off from the pipe like that. And I have this tool here. So what you do is, this is a ratcheting tool, and this is like a razor, and the pipe will get stuck in this corner, and this will come down like a guillotine and give it a nice straight cut. And we're gonna see a little bit of water come out of these. So let me get this cut. So there's a little bit of water, not too much, but if I bend the pipe down, I'll get it into the bucket. So now let me do this one. There we go. So it's disconnected. You can see there's a little water in them still. So if I bend the pipes down, I can get the water into this bucket. Because when I pull it down in the cellar, it's going to get a little wet here and there. So I got that water out of there. I'm going to take the rest of these noodles off of this, like that. So the noodles are off. Next thing I need to do is cut this PVC pipe, because it's glued into this washer box, and there's I can't really just pop this off. And if I leave enough collar space, I can always put a coupler and reuse this somewhere else. And I can put a fitting in here to reconnect this as well. Oh, there we go. So if I open up this valve, any water that was captured in there is drained out. So I'll close that back up. So that's a done deal. Now I'm going to cut this pipe right here, and this will get the washer box out of the wall. Okay, now we're ready to cut this drainage pipe out. I have my Chinese pole saw, so I'm going to just kind of cut it even with this, and I can pull it out a little bit. Just try to make a nice straight cut. So there we go. That's a washer box, and that's off of there. So you can see the compression fittings that we just did down the bottom. So I'm going to pull these pipes down through, and I'm going to cut this and get this out of here. So we're going to have to go back in the cellar to do that. Before I pull this down, I just want to make sure my path of removing this is clear. So right down here are a couple of bushings that are holding this pipe against this beam. So I'm going to have to take those off so I can get that, pull the pipe out of here. So that's one area. I need to disconnect a couple of things first before I go any further. Now I can pull these through here, and I think I shouldn't have any trouble. So you just pull it down, and be careful that I'm not hitting this copper pipe on the other adjacent area. All right, so this one's out. I got a bucket here. I got to capture any water. It's gonna leak out of these. There we go. So that's in the bucket. We get this next one pulled out of there. See, that's what's nice about these PEX pipes. They're so flexible. You can pretty much pull them out of anywhere and not have to worry about it. If you were trying to pull out a copper pipe, you'd have to cut all the elbows because you can't really, maneuver them. Okay, good to go here. So first thing I need to do is put this stopper over it till it hits the bottom. Same thing here. So those are in there. I'm going to use the ProPEX tool to expand the pipe. Okay, and I'll put the cap on this. That'll hold that for a couple seconds till that contracts over the pipe. Feels like it's staying put. Okay, now I'll do the other one. Put that in there, hold it for a few seconds. Now there is a period of time you need to wait before you pressurize the system. So like 5-10 minutes. So before I turn this water back on, I'm going to give these a chance to relax and collapse over that. You don't want to do these and then turn the water on right away. You got to give them a chance for them to come back together and give a good tight fit. So that's all set. So now I'm going to work on getting that drain pipe out of there. That's next. So I decided it made more sense to cut the pipe right here, because now I can just cap this. I don't need any of this up here, so I'm just going to take this out of the way. Alright. That's all set. Now I just got to get this out of here without doing... Okay, there we go. So we're all set. Let me get this trap out of the way. It's got a little water in it still. So this here's my prize. This is what I cut out of there. This was going up to the standpipe. So the plan here is to put this clean out right there like that, and then I can clamp with this to, you know, secure it. Then this can come out. If I ever needed to clean a pipe, I could take this cap off, and I can run a fish line down here to clean out anything that's clogged. So that's the plan now, because I want to make sure that this drain line can continue working for the upstairs sink. And where I'm going to tee in right here is going to go to the shower. So the shower drain is going to come in, you know, somewhere in here. But for now, I want to just get this capped. So I got that cut. I got it chamfered and got all the burrs out. It's cleaned. I got the fitting ready to go. I just got to put the primer and the glue on. The first thing I need to do is prime this. So this is a primer, this cleans it. So this goes on first. So that's the primer, that cleans it and pre-softens the PVC. Do the same thing in here. So it's got a kind of a purple color to it. That's how you know you've primed it. So once that's done, then I grab the glue. We put some glue around this. This is kind of a tan color, so that goes on next. And we put some on both sides, both fittings, like that. I always like to go back, just make sure I got a good coating. And when you put these on, you push them on, you give them a little bit of a turn just to make sure all the glue is, you know, spread evenly. And you got to hold it for like the count of 10, because it's a press fit. It's a little bit tapered, so it goes together evenly. But if you let go, it'll tend to pop off a little bit. All right, so that's good. I'm gonna let that dry. Now I can get my fitting and put this back up here like this to hold this pipe up top like that. So that's how that's going to hold it up against the joist. So I have to get some screws for that. I just want to give this a chance to dry before I do anything crazy with that. So once again, this will come off. If I ever need to get a clog undone, I just put a stick down there or a fish wire or what have you, and that'll give me access to the pipe. I can clean it out. And when you're all done, you just screw this back in like that. So this drain's all set to work. I'm going to have to turn the water back on for the sink upstairs. So let me find that valve, which is right up here. So I'm going to turn these back on, just gradually. So what's happening is the water is backfilling into this PEX pipe that I took out. There's probably a little bit of air stuck in the end of it, so there'll be a little bit of a kind of a cushioning effect. So let me go do this other one. Where is it? There it is, over here. There we go. Okay, so the water is back on for the upstairs sink, which also was sharing this circuit with the washer. You see it's got a T fitting here, so I got two shark bite fittings that are T's to split this water supply up between the washer and the upstairs sink. So let's look at these fittings, see if there's any leakage. There is none. No leakage there. and no leakage there. So we're all set. And it looks like I might be able to get this pipe out of here too. If I can just push this to the side. There we go. Oh, nope. There's a coupler up top I got to caught on. So let me go upstairs and pull it up through the top. Yeah, so I couldn't pull it down to the bottom because, you know, this coupler's in the way here. So I'll just pull it up this way. There we go. And these are the PEX fittings. And this down here is a nail plate so that you don't put any fasteners through your pipe or through your PEX. So this has been disconnected. We're good to go here now. I can clean this up and get this extra material out of this wall where the washer box was. We're going to put a niche in here. So all these boards, I can just unscrew them and get these out of here and clean this area up. I got all the plumbing and drain and ventilation out. I pulled all the wood that was able to be pulled out. So we have studs 16 inches on center. These lines here, these other studs were just glued in on the edges. So there's no holes that would have pulled through from the other side and damaged the sheetrock surface on the opposite side. So these have been pulled out. They were just screwed in from the top and the bottom. They weren't screwed in from the sheetrock. So the niche is going to be approximately centered. So here's the drain right there. So it's usually centered on the middle of the wall. So the niche is going to go right about here. So Steve is going to probably cut out a piece of this and make whatever space he needs for the niche to go right in the middle there. Unless we decide to just put it in that space that's already there and not play around with it too much. So here's how the termination of this drain turned out. So right there is the clean out, that square hex. So you just put a wrench in there and unscrew that. You can run your fish wire into doing unclogging a maneuver. We've got the strapping holding it on. So that's nice and solid. And right above it, these are the hot and cold water lines going up to the bathroom. So that's where those get routed. And if we follow this pipe here that I took out, this is the going to be the hot and cold water supply for the shower. I capped this earlier and we're still fine. There's no leaks. Everything's golden on that. So here's a review of today's activities. The kitchen cabinets came in. Me and Steve took inventory as they were carried into the den area and stored. Everything was accounted for. There were no damaged boxes. All the hardware was present and accounted for. So that's a good to go deal. So our cabinets are in the house and ready to be installed. Steve came by for that inventory and also summed up what he needs to do for tiling. There's just a little bit of subfloor that has to be finished up. So he's going to do that today, and he's going to start sheetrocking the ceiling. That's later this afternoon after I'm off to work. He's going to be busy doing that. I got the laundry demolition completed. That included taking out the hot and cold water supply for the washer and the standpipe for the washer's drain. That got all removed. I pulled it down through the floor and capped it so we can still use those pipes for the hot and cold water for the shower. Just got my homework for tomorrow or tonight is to kind of run through in my head how I want to route that those hot and cold water lines up through the joist bay and get them all through the rim joist and the blocking and up into the stud bay up above. So that's my homework for tonight, to think about how I'm going to do that, and tomorrow I'll execute that plan and get that done. With that completed, that will be all the things that I'm doing on the side to help Steve get ready for the tiler. He's going to install the curbing and the frame in the niche for the storage for the soap and the shampoo. So that's on him. So I think by tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to be done doing all my extra credit assignments. And it's going to be everybody else does their thing, and I can relax for a couple of days. As you may or may not know, tomorrow is my birthday. So if you want to send me a Home Depot or a Lowe's gift card, let's start at $1 and go from there. We got a lot of odds and ends to purchase to finish this up. So if you're feeling like you want to donate to the cause, that would be the most helpful thing you could do. Other than that, you can bake me a cake and put a file in it so I can escape from my current reality and get into a fantasy land. It's all good, guys. Things are moving ahead as planned. You know, there's lots of schedules and timing things, and you know, it can be frustrating. It's not happening fast enough, but it is happening. We went from when's it going to happen to it's not happening fast enough. So that's a good sign. Everyone's getting excited. We want this to be done and through with so we can move back in our kitchen and cook things. Patience. Patience, grasshopper. All right, that's all I got for you. I'm heading off to work, or I can relax. All right, Dave out.